Hey, good morning, Jacksonville, all of Duval and beyond. Campo and Joe on the air, fired up and ready to go. And I tell you what, normally I come in like this, coach, all fired up and ready to go. A little different this time because of what we have to look back on, an L instead of a W. The 8-game win streak has been halted, and it comes at the worst of times in the postseason. So let's start talking about it, Coach Campo. A hell of an atmosphere, a hell of a game. You were in the bank, taking it all in, live and in person. What did you think?
Well, first of all, disappointed but grateful, actually, that the city had an opportunity to see a team that literally, unfortunately, it didn't work out, but this team literally built themselves into a contender that in certain circumstances might have been able to go all the way. And I think that bodes well for next year. I think that the foundation is laid, and that's really what they wanted to get accomplished. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in that ball game, but that's the NFL. It comes down to 4 or 5 plays, and, unfortunately, we didn't make them.
Yeah, it stinks. So we're going to go back and look at this game. We're going to talk about either the high points, the low points. So if you guys are watching on any of our 1010XL social channels, by all means, jump in the conversation. You can hit the comment section. Yoda's producing. I would tell you to hit me up on X, but I got kicked off of X. And can't figure out how to get back on. So that's got me fired up, Coach. That's a totally separate story. But let's just kind of set the table on how this game unfolded. The frustration for me and for a lot of fans, and I'm sure you as well, is the run game worked early and then they abandoned it. That's probably point number one. And then the decision not to take the points when they had an opportunity and instead went forward on 4th down, denied. So let's at least start there.
Okay, well, first, let me just say to start the whole thing off, Liam Cohen did a tremendous job this year, in my opinion. Yeah. And I mean, not only, the 3 guys, the triumvirate, building the team to where they wanted it at this point, but also in play calling. I thought all year he did an excellent job. Now, in this particular ball game, obviously you look at it and you say, well, their weakness going in was our strength. Was our ability to run the football and play action off of it and do all those kind of things. And it was working great. They had no answer for the perimeter. We're sitting up in the press box and we're saying, hey, just keep going at the perimeter. I was sitting next to Coach Duffner, and that's all we were saying. Just keep hitting the perimeter, hit the perimeter. And they even made some stuff inside as well, kind of a compliment to it. So, unfortunately, I thought we did abandon it. And again, the heat of the game, how they feel things are going, whether or not they feel like the defense all of a sudden is giving up some things and maybe we have to throw it a little bit more to get some chunk plays to get going forward, that contributed. So in my opinion, and yours, obviously, and some of the fans, we probably didn't run the ball enough. Yeah. The other part of it is, it's a new NFL. Back in the old days, you took the points all the time. Right. If it was a 4th down play, you better be darn sure you're going to get that thing before you do it. In this day and age with analytics and all those things, the analytics tell you that, there's a plus or a minus on whether you do things. And I think that this league goes with that a lot more. Mm-hmm. And really, to be honest with you, with the explosiveness of offenses at this time, I don't really have a problem with, what I consider gambling. Mm-hmm. When the odds are in your favor in a normal situation. Now, the odds go up the closer you get to the goal line. The closer you get to the goal line, and that was Liam's decision, was that if we don't make it, they've got to go the length of the field. But you have to get a feel for how the game's going and how the other team is reacting offensively. And unfortunately, they went the length of the field after they missed the 4th down. And that hurt us psychologically as well as, the giving up the 3 points. But my answer, and this is a long one, the one thing I was disappointed about is I feel analytics are great, But when you get a turnover in your territory where you've got guaranteed 3 points,
Yeah.
no matter what the situation, I'm going to be really careful with going for fourth down because I want to get that they're giving you points.
Yeah.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
Now, Liam would say it was a no-brainer call because the odds were so much in their favor. They felt good about the play, and it was a chance to put a touchdown on the board, which would have been a big thing. So, it's easy to contradict or be concerned a call, but that's his decision, and that's what it is.
Yeah. I think maybe we'll put this together as we go along. But when the game was over, I didn't necessarily blame the offense. I had a problem with the back end of the secondary and the lack of pass pressure on Josh Allen. And so even though Liam went for it, missed out on points, they missed a field goal right before the half when they got a second back on the clock. That's 6 important points that you could argue would have won the game. But at the same time, I didn't blame the offense. I was looking more at defensive woes, and we'll get into those coming up in just a second. But let's just at least stay here on the points for a minute and go back to what you said, Coach, and I agree. I love aggressiveness. I love the belief that you can do it, that you're going to impose your will and you're going to break their spirit. I love that. But your point is important. Gift horse in the mouth. You forced a turnover. A great play from LaQuint Allen and Buster Brown. Turn that into a quick 3 and make them at least get a little uneasy. And so I feel like, and Leon Searcy's made this point, and I know you're rocking the ring. Rock the ring, Coach. Show them what you got. I mean, you've won Super Bowls, so you know the atmosphere is different in the postseason, and the importance of points are critical.
Yeah, and more so, I think, in the playoffs. The league is obviously a parity is huge in the league. Very seldom are you going to get a game like the Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially in the playoffs. The playoffs games are going to be close. It's going to be a battle because you got 2 teams, obviously, that have proven during the season that they're close to each other. So that's when the points even mean more. And to me, if you look at it from that standpoint, I would lean towards obviously taking points. I'm a little old school, as I said, but at the same time, it is up to the defense to get a stop as well. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
And the odds are in your favor when you turn a ball over on your 2 that they're not going to be able to drive the length of the field. So, I mean, there's so many things in there. I just like the points.
And so if we do go to the fact that they did drive the length of the field, that gets me to the secondary. That gets me to the lack of pass pressure. And you and I will probably, over the coming weeks, talk about what they need. But let's at least look back at what they did in this game. Khalil Shakir was targeted 12 times and caught 12 footballs. Brandon Cooks averaged over 19 yards per catch. The ball was being moved around in wide open spaces, it felt like. And this is where you come in, Coach. You're a defensive man by trade, coordinator, secondaries coach. How frustrating is a defensive coach's mind in a game when that guy just keeps delivering strike after strike after strike and you can't stop it?
Well, obviously it's frustrating, and we've basically had a bend but don't break kind of a philosophy the whole year, which really has helped us, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, and we've been able to complement that with taking the ball away.
Yeah.
Well, you're playing against maybe the MVP. Everybody talks about Mahomes, but Allen is right there. When you look at what he's done over the course, the only thing he hadn't done is get to the Super Bowl, and so, there's some times that you have to be a little bit more aggressive when you're playing against a player like that. They did a great job at stopping the run.
Yeah.
Cook got nothing. I mean, to be honest with you, for the amount of carries he had, the yardage he had, they did a super job there. And sometimes that lends itself, though, to being open in the secondary because you're having to play all this zone and to make sure that you're, got people around the box to stop the run. Right. So those kind of things are going to happen. The disappointing thing is the only one that hurts me to this day to my heart is the explosive in the last drive. And they ran a zone pressure. I watched it. I know exactly what happened. The only thing I don't know is if they were pure straight man in the secondary, but I don't believe they were. I think they were playing quarters, and they brought the weak side linebacker, Lloyd, and he was clean. It was a great call, okay? Yeah. But the person that had to play the flat in the coverage on the side of the blitz was the linebacker on the other side of him. He had to come all the way across from the backside, right? Well, the safety in the corner, Newsome and Antonio, or it wasn't Antonio, it was I think it was 42.
Yeah, that would have been Dewey. Yeah,
Dewey. I don't know if they had an in and out on those two receivers or what they had going, but it looked like Newsome. The inside receiver ran an out route under 10, and the safety jumped him. And now it was one-on-one on Newsome, and Newsome hesitated because Newsome thought he was going to take the flat route. So it was indecision between those two guys that caused that explosive to set them up to win the game at the end. And that disappointed me because it never should have happened. The two deep guys should have stayed deep. If they throw the out, let them throw the out, and let's play ball. Don't give up the post in that situation.
Yeah, it goes right to your bend but don't break philosophy. And to throw the comment from the one up on the screen, one of our viewers, he said, I had a major malfunction with that last deep pass screw up. All we had to do was stop them one time in the last 2 minutes. And this is exactly what you're referring to, Coach, is that was just either the miscommunication or misplay. And obviously it's costly.
Yeah, no question. And again, listen, the game is not perfect, and you try to, mediate those things. And we've been pretty good at adversity, and they still had to drive the ball down and get into position. The other thing that really bothers me is if they don't outlaw that tush push this year, the league is crazy because there's no way to. First of all, there's no way to officiate it. You can't tell if there's a fumble, if there's a bad snap, if there's and to be able to do something that the rule says don't pull. What's the difference between pushing and pulling?
They almost picked him up. They almost picked him up and lifted him into the end zone.
Yeah, for 10 yards on a quarterback sneak, it's absolutely ridiculous. So the combination of those two things in the last drive, unfortunately, was the demise of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is really a shame.
So it does get you to you have to acknowledge what Josh Allen did. You have to acknowledge what Joe Brady did as a coordinator, what Sean McDermott did as a head coach, because you and I talked, and I maintained McDermott would have been in huge hot water if they didn't win this football game. But Josh Allen did what operators do, MVP level players do. And he basically just said, I'm not going to do anything dumb. I'm going to basically hit them where they ain't. That's that old classic line, either in baseball or football, hit them where they ain't. Yeah. And they did it. And they did it to perfection, where they just constantly put this defense on their heels and in a stressful situation.
Yeah, the fourth quarter was an unbelievable quarter on both sides of the ball. I mean, we had them reeling as well. It's just, the games are tight. You have to, again, you take points when you have an opportunity, when it's given to you. I just think that's playoff football. And, there's going to be points scored in this league. That's the way it is. And you have to make sure that you don't have situations where you make too many mistakes. And obviously the one mistake really hurt us in that one. But there were other plays that we could have, done better as well.
Yeah. When it's all said and done, and maybe this is next week's show, but we at least have to insert it a little bit, is that the atmosphere was electric. There
Absolutely.
were more Jags fans than Bills fans, which, believe me, I was a little worried about that. And Bills fans come in mass. But damn it, the Jaguar fans bought tickets, filled it up, made sure they got there early. It was loud. They were proud. And this was a 13-win football team with a huge amount of positives to build off of.
Well, the interesting thing is that going in, to be honest with you, I think Frank Frangie made the comment that he thought they were going to win. This was on one of the shows. I don't remember where I heard it, but he made a comment maybe in the pregame show early. He said, we're going to win the game, but this is going to be the toughest game they have. Yeah. And really it is. It was, because you got an MVP at quarterback. And when you look at the other teams you're playing against, there's not an MVP quarterback in any of them.
Yeah.
So this one was going to be the toughest, and we just didn't finish. And you talk about what they have to do in the future. They have to, continue as a coaching staff to put guys in position, to put guys, get the right people, and really keep talking about the close, how you close in the game of football. And that's where we look forward to next year.
Yeah, it's funny because I push back on this is the hardest game, and it's as if once you play this, you're automatically in the Super Bowl, and I hate that. I just hate it because you know how tough it is to win football games. The Philadelphia Eagles are done, okay? They didn't think that San Francisco was the hardest game they were going to play, but they don't get to play anymore.
True.
And so you can't look at it like if we win this one, we've got them all. That's BS. You need to go into every game saying it is a fist fight until the end, and we can't take anything. And like you said, Coach, you're going up against the flipping MVP. Okay, this guy can know Mahomes, and maybe people fell for that act as well, that if you get by this guy, you got it done. But I'll just give you this, okay? And this is the frustrating part for me. Campanile kicked ass. There's no doubt in my mind. And he basically saved careers for a lot of guys the way he coached. But just bear with me, okay? From November on, they played Geno Smith and had to get to overtime to win it. They played Davis Mills and lost a 19-point lead. They beat the hell out of Justin Herbert. Huge win. Then they faced a backup in Jacoby Brissett. They faced a rookie in Cam Ward. Daniel Jones goes out early in the ball game. They see Riley Leonard the rest of the way. They see Brady Cook. They see Bo Nix, second-year guy. Give him credit. That was a hell of a win. Then they see 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, the grandpa. And then the Titans and Cam Ward goes out immediately, and they see Brandon Allen. I mean, come on. You can't take anything for granted in this league, thinking you're going to win this one and you're going to win them all.
That's absolutely right. And the interesting thing is nobody remembers who you win against because, one of the years that we won the Super Bowl, and I'm an old man now, I can't remember every little thing we did back in the day, but I can tell you one thing I remember. We faced 8 backup quarterbacks one of the years that we won the Super Bowl. So, you play who you play, and that's it. And the one thing they've done a great job with all year is 1-0. And I think that's the thing that Liam has brought to this team.
He has.
Every game is one in itself, and you've heard me say it 100 times.
Yep.
You don't worry about the one you're going to play, and you don't worry about the one you lost. Yep. You worry about the one you play in that particular day, and that's what they've been able to do. And unfortunately, they had a chance to win this one and didn't.
Yeah, and Tony Baselli, that was his mantra all year. The most important game is, and I thought he sold it very well to the fan base, and I'm sure he convinced the players in the locker room how important it is to focus in on each individual play, each individual moment, and do your job, which is what they did. All right, so let's come out of this. First off, I need to bring up Liam and Jimmy Gladstone's, but who wins the Super Bowl based on what you saw out of this first week? Is Buffalo right now hot enough to just stay on the road and win these games and get to the Super Bowl based on what you saw?
Yeah, I think that's a good football team. I mean, I don't think they're the greatest. Stopping the run, that's going to be a big thing. In the game coming up.
Yeah.
They're playing a rookie quarterback. Again, we've talked. You just said that every game is different, and you can't worry about who you're playing against. It's all about yourself. I think Buffalo is good enough to go all the way to the Super Bowl. I don't know if they can win it. I haven't seen enough of the NFC to say that, but
right.
I would say that they've got the right. Other than the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've got the right people in the playoffs, and all these teams that are in there right now are capable of one play, one game, making a difference in whether they win the thing or not.
What drives me crazy more than anything else, Coach, is those stinking Texans.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 7-6 ball game against a bad Steeler team that both teams were it was physical as all get out. Pittsburgh did their job against C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud was doing his thing by screwing the game up, and I would have loved to have seen him go down. He had turnover after turnover after turnover, and then 23 points, the explosion in the fourth quarter. It just drove me nuts.
Well, all I can tell you is you heard me on a show, I believe, say that I'm not worried about the Colts. I'm worried about the Texans.
Yeah. Because
with that defense, you're winning defense wins championships now. And again, that doesn't mean they're going to win it. They're playing against good teams, but I'm going to tell you right now, that defense is good enough to go all the way. I'm not sure that the quarterback is good enough to go all the way. And Nico Collins getting hurt, banged up. They don't have the greatest firepower over there. So you need the complement for sure, but their defense is real. I mean, there's no question about those two outside rushers. Yeah. Please, you better protect your quarterback or they're going to get hurt.
Yeah, so just real quick, it'll be a second-year Bo Nix going up against Josh Allen, and it'll be up on Mile High. Houston and New England will play, and like you just said, we'll see what that defense can do to that quarterback. Another second-year guy who's having a sensational year. And then you have San Francisco and the Seahawks in a rematch, and then the Rams and the Bears. And the thing with the Bears, it's going to be bitter cold up in Chicago, Coach. And the Rams, Matthew Stafford has a hurt. I think one of his fingers on his
hit it on the helmet, right?
Yeah, he hit the helmet, and they're going to be in bitter cold. He played his fanny off against the Eagles in the snow last year, almost willed them to a win. So we'll see how that side of it goes as well.
Yeah, again, those are all competitive football teams. I think the Chicago Bears are overachieving, so you never know what's going to happen there. And, that's going to be a game. All of them are going to be games, in my opinion. Right. I don't think you're going to see another 30-6 or what went down against the Steelers. But, the rest of these games are going to be contested right to the end. And the team that plays best in the fourth quarter is probably going to win them.
Well, there's 8 teams left. And from a Jaguars point of view, they played 3 of the final 4 in the NFC. They lost to Seattle here. We all know that game could have gone different. It was a one-score game, and they got just absolutely trounced by the Rams. They beat the 49ers. So they were 1-2 against the NFC. They beat the Broncos, who are going to be hosting the Bills right now, and they split with Houston. So it's all in all, there's so many positives to take out of what this season brought back to Duval.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, the city, after the game, there were some people that were really, really upset, and I mean mad. Mm-hmm. And I feel that you're disappointed. You're not really mad because it's tough to do what they did. 13 wins, but even if it wasn't 13 wins, just what they did for this city, to get to where they got. And again, the bottom line is everybody goes in with the idea of winning the final game, but there's only one that does it. And, you have to do it well at the end. And that's where we can improve going forward, that there are things that we can do to elevate the team.
So from Duval TV, let's throw this comment up about Buffalo in this next round. Another team won't make that same mistake, and Buffalo will be exposed. They can't stop the run. So that's what we're going to find out, whether or not what Sean Payton can devise. He lost some guys in the run game. R.J. Harvey is as much a receiving threat as he is a running threat. So we'll see how it goes. But it was a one-man machine, basically, this past week that got past Jacksonville, and we'll see whether or not Denver, with a week of rest and a week to game plan against them, can figure it out.
Yeah. And again, I think they're going to be good games. So watch them. You don't have to be a non-Jaguar fan to watch the playoffs. We can watch them, and obviously it just makes you want to get it done more.
Right. Create some hunger in the belly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's get to Jimmy Gladstone's, a.k.a. Harry Potter, as I like to call him, and Liam Cohen with their exit presser yesterday. Just a couple quick things, Coach. No one really committed to anything. Jimmy Gladstone's is not going to say, hey, we're going to offer Devin a max deal. We're going to bring back ETN for a year. Parker's going to get paid. Brenton's going to get paid. He didn't say any of that. But he did say that they're going to be looking at those four guys, and you can name a few others, Monteric Brown and so on, that they need to make decisions on. There's players that are worthy of second contracts in that locker room that were huge, huge pieces of the success this year.
Yeah, no question about it. And that's the key thing that they're going to have to make a decision on, is based on the cap and all the things that they have to do. You certainly want to reward your own players if they perform, but when they're free agents, you'd like to get them done before they're free agents. But unfortunately, a few of them did a great job in a new, 1 year deal. Yeah. So you have to be careful with that as well. I thought that Lloyd, if you want to look at a guy on defense that made a big difference in whether or not they won games, he was it. So I think you have to really look at that and say, hey, we got to kind of try to get this done. Whether or not you can get it done or not, that's a different story. But you look at the improvement in Monteric Brown, but I thought they made they actually made a kind of a look into the future when they said Travis Hunter, the corners. They got two corners that are free agents, Newsome and Monteric. Even though they played pretty well, there's a chance they're going to lose somebody financially. It might be one of them. Yeah. And they've got Travis Hunter, number one position, maybe corner, and still a factor on offense. So that's going to be the thing. They have to look at those guys. They have to see where they are in the cap. And it depends. Travis Etienne. What are they going to do there? Yeah. He's a guy that really showed that he's a good player, but the running back position is not a position that everybody, in the league loves to give a lot of money to. So they may not, he may price him out of business, but so there's a lot of things to get done. But the main thing is they've got to have a focus on what they want this team to look forward to. The best thing about this offseason, everybody in the offensive line is coming back. Everybody. Yeah. Now, whether or not they all come back is a different story, because there's some
72. Yeah.
We'll go, hey, we got a couple of rookies here that are pretty good. We got to, get them going, and maybe they surpass them. But they're all coming back, and unity and that with the offensive line is extremely important. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons Stroud has gone backwards, because their offensive line over there at Houston is not a great one, that's for sure.
Yeah, remember they did the deal for Cam Robinson. He didn't pan out. Dwayne Brown looks like a broke down bus on the right side. He can't move at all.
Nope.
All right, so next week we'll spend some time on some of these, and obviously the next 2 or 3 weeks are going to be crucial in terms of trying to figure out contracts. So we will definitely do that. But let's end on this one, Coach. Trevor Lawrence, I still don't believe he hit his ceiling. There's so much more. But Liam was complimentary of what Trevor did, how they did progress, how they did make huge steps. He threw 2 picks, one really bad one early in the game. The other one, you can say what you want to say about it, but all in all, we saw Trevor, Project 16, as I like to call it, move up, and I still think there's more to look forward to.
Absolutely. I think the guy made a great, he is so much more under control, so much more understands the offense. I think that offense is great for him. Leadership, I can see that going up the ladder. When the African Americans start giving a white guy a grill, they believe in him. There's no question about it.
That's funny.
And
yeah.
so, there's no question that the guy is the leader of this football team. There's things, obviously you can look at things and say, well, he shouldn't have done this or shouldn't have done that, but that's in every game. The last one ball was tipped. He has too many balls tipped. And I think that's something at his height that shouldn't happen. He's got to really understand that if a guy's not pressuring him, he's going to jump and with the hands up. And so some of those kind of things, I think he missed one in the last interception. I think Thomas was open behind him that he could have gone to. Hey, the guy was great in the fourth quarter. Let's make that perfectly clear. He had 3 touchdowns, passes, and really good plays. And he did a great job with the game overall. So there's a lot of upside to him still. I think that him knowing when to run and when not to run was a big plus this year, and I think that will continue.
Good stuff, Coach. I know the fans appreciate it, that's for sure. Happy that you were able to get back here for this playoff game, and looking forward to our offseason and see what we can bake out. Let's just end on this, okay? This time a year ago, they still hadn't fired Trent Baalke, okay? Right. This time a year ago, Liam Cohen had pulled his name out of consideration. So think of how much better it is in Duval right here in the Bold City.
Gladstone said that. He said, listen, I was last year, wasn't even sure I was going to leave the Rams, So everything is ahead of us. And again, I think this team understands, you see this all the time. There's a bunch of different teams going to the playoffs every year than the ones that went the last year. Yeah. So when you say you got a tough schedule or an easy schedule, that's a bunch of baloney. You can't, everybody changes, evolves. Well, I think they've got this team where they understand that the reason they got where they got was the way they approached the offseason and all those kind of things. And belief in what's going on. So I'm excited about what's going forward. I think this team can be really good for a number of years here.
Yeah, one of their mantras, it's about us. Forget about everything else, which is
Absolutely.
The way to do it. All right, it's about us, Coach. And we always say thank you to you. Thanks to all of Duval and beyond for hanging out with us. Yoda, good job as always. A little Campo and Joe on a Thursday, and we will talk to y'all next week.
Duval.